Welcome one, welcome all. Today's game is very special to me, as the game is based on my favourite James Bond film, a franchise if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know I'm a big fan of. And it stars not only the likeness, but the voice work of Sir Sean Connery. Rest in peace, Sir Sean. He reprised the role 20 years after he last played it to do all new voice work for this game. Let's get into it and see if it's as good as I want it to be. As is quite commonplace, the first level serves as a bit of a tutorial, and you are in the Houses of Parliament, originally there for a nice dinner party, in your suave white tuxedo jacket, when all hell breaks loose. Thankfully you have your trusty Wolver PPK, and you can pick up the enemy's weapons once they're defeated as well. Little bit of charging around with some light acrobatics onto the chandeliers, and you will get your way to the control room. When in doubt, just shoot the lock. I like that style. Shoot your way to the roof and you'll find the first major liberty that I think this game takes, as you find yourself using a jetpack. Something that Bond fans out there will know wasn't in this film. It only first came in Thunderball. Another good film. Never mind, you do get some nice good fight sequences where you're shooting around Big Ben's clock tower, taking out all the enemies, a helicopter, and of course you save the girl. This time it's the Prime Minister's daughter, played by Natasha Bedingfield.
Who are you?
The name is Bond. James Bond.
We're now at the first level, which you can say is based on a scene in the film. It's the opening scenes. It's got a nice little twist at the end, which if you know the film, you'll exactly know what's going to happen, and yeah, it's exactly what you think. If not, I won't spoil it, it's a nice little surprise, but this is where we start to get a bit more faithful to the film and to the story. Now, rather than go through each level in detail and turn this into a walkthrough, I'm just going to talk about some of the highlights. And for me, one of the highlights in a Bond game is always the driving scenes. Now, there's been many liberties taken here with the film to make it into an entertaining game, so you have to allow some artistic license. And as much as the DB5 didn't actually appear until Goldfinger, I don't think you could have a Sean Connery Bond game without being able to play the iconic Aston Martin DB5. So things like that we'll have to allow, or at least I allow. You know, let me know in the comments what you think. I love the driving sequences to these games. They're good, solid action, not perfect, wouldn't want a full game of them, but they're really nice, interjected to in the third person combat. In fact, this game does do its best to vary different levels and stages with the gameplay, so it's not all the same thing over and over, which I really appreciate.
We need to slow the Russians down. Maybe you can use one of your fancy toys to destroy their garage.
Assuming they don't destroy this car first.
On the note of different styles of gameplay to keep it fresh, you also get some on-rails shooter sections. I think that's the best way to describe it. This is based in the underground, under the city section. I can't think of the proper word for it, but you'll know if you've seen the film, and if not, you'll still enjoy playing it, where you're on the boat with a dirty great machine gun. Never gets boring, that. I will mention at this point that you can upgrade Bond with his gadgets and armour and weapons in between the levels as well, which is a nice little part of customisation. They have kept true to the film as best they can, while still making an entertaining game. As I said earlier, this is in the Gypsy Camp, which I think is one of the better done levels to give you the feel of that area from the film. And, again, another different part of gameplay, you also get to do a bit of sniping. Mixes it up yet again. They did throw everything including the kitchen sink at this game, didn't they? One of the most impressive ways, I think at least, that they've been faithful to the film is with the cutscenes. Now, a game like this is relatively cutscene heavy. I think you'd sort of expect it, really. And they've basically recreated scenes from the film for the game with, of course, computer graphics, and they've kept them more or less identical, at least as far as I can tell, which is a really nice touch. One of the most amusing liberties I think they took with the game, which I'm just putting in randomly to show you because I think it was a fun little part of the game and it amuses me they put it in, your remote control toy helicopter. This definitely wasn't in the film because that sort of tech wasn't around when the film was made. It's random, it's a bit of fun, I just wanted to show it off.
Old man, is that you die on the train?
I should have known. Red wine with fish.
Another hark back scene there to the good old days where knowing your wines and what to order with what food actually counted for something. I really would have done well in the past, probably better than I'm doing right now in the present. Anyway, moving on. You don't have to have seen this film to enjoy this game. You don't have to enjoy Bond to enjoy this game. It's a very competent, primarily third-person shooter with good varied gameplay elements, with a fantastic plot, expertly voiced, done graphically as well as any other 6th gen game could have been done, and I just think it's absolutely brilliant. If you're a purist and you want it to be exactly like the film, well, you can't make a game exactly the same. It just doesn't work. It has to be some liberties, some artistic license for a change of medium. Otherwise, it would have just been a failure, wouldn't it? EA's last Bond game was perhaps their best one. I definitely think it is the best Bond game based on a film as opposed to being an original story. Which, don't get me wrong, I love original story Bond games as well, but that's a different video. But I want you to let me know, in the comments obviously, what do you think of this game? Am I blinded by the light of nostalgia? Or is it as good as I absolutely think it is? I replayed it to make this video and had just as good a time as the first time I played it, and this certainly wasn't my second or third, it was probably about my 7th or 8th. As I said many times whenever I talk about a licensed game, unless you're a fan of the property that it's about, you won't get everything out of it that a fan will. Yet I do think they succeeded making a game where even if you're not a fan of the IP, you can still enjoy yourself and have a good time. I want to thank you very much for your valuable time in watching my little video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you want to press subscribe or like, don't fight the urge because it really helps me out. Until next time, you should be seeing a link to other Bond videos I've made, and I'll see you very, very soon.
Now that it's over, I hope you don't find me disappointing.
I'll let you know in the morning.